year two.
Yeah.
Things are a little different. As you said there last year, I'm sure, with whirlwind and didn't know what to expect. I mean, truly, do you feel like you have a better grasp on this league and what it's going to take for the program to win?
You certainly have a beat for your opponents. I think when you evaluate film, it's a lot easier to see how to evaluate how good teams are. In year one, it's like you just don't know. You don't know how good a team is. So, more importantly, we know our own roster and what our needs are and what we have to identify and who our leadership is. So there's a certain level of comfort just with knowing what to expect.
I know the wins weren't where you expected last year, but when you went back and watched this film, were you that close?
We weren't. But in the same breath, we were that far away because when you look at it, we block a punt for a touchdown at Glenville and lose by 3. We have a punt return for a touchdown at West Liberty and lose, I believe, by 4. We block a punt for a safety and score a kickoff return against Charleston and win by 2. We block 2 field goals at Urbana and win by 1. So without the kicking game, you're not in some of those games at all. So the margin for error in this league in any phase of the game is really small, and that's what makes it exciting.
In what areas do you feel like you are going to be better this year?
Hopefully, I think we're going to be more dynamic offensively. Really, I mean, when you have the offensive player of the year, when you have the 6th leading rusher in the country, and you don't win very many football games, there's an issue. And it was just that we weren't very dynamic, specifically on the perimeter with our receivers, and we've addressed that. We've got some big play guys there now that we're excited about, and then our offensive line has just been better. We gave up the least amount of sacks in the league last year, but I don't know that we could have held up in a lot of drop-back protection. So, hopefully we can protect Ryan and take some shots down the field this year.
It's interesting you said that because I think it goes against conventional wisdom that you have a great player, but yet you lose him, and sometimes you feel like you can be better offensively. But it makes sense because when you have Michael Anderson, I'm sure offensively you guys are thinking, you got to get Michael Anderson touches.
Sure.
And Mike's got to touch the ball, Mike's got to touch the ball. And you're thinking, because if he doesn't touch the ball, people are going to think we're nuts. But like you said, now it's spread a little more this way than it is this way.
I'm just hoping this year we have a better football team. Last year we had a really big senior class that didn't experience much success over the course of their 4 years there. It's not their fault, but we feel like we've got a group of seniors this year that's locked in. It's a smaller group. They know what it takes to win. We've had a great off season. We know who our leadership is. Our players, our returning players, understand the culture, and it's that much easier to bring the younger guys along when they already know what to expect. So it's exciting. This was really our first recruiting class that we got to put 10 months into. The last recruiting class we brought on campus, yes, talented, but when you put it together in 4 weeks, it's different than when you have 10 months to really do your research.
Speaking of that, when you went out in the recruiting class and you called kids and called high school coaches and junior college coaches and went into homes, how much of an education process was there for this league? How much did you find that people, because of Shepherd's success, they knew about the league?
I just think our league in general has a pretty wide recruiting footprint, and it speaks to the league when you now have teams in Virginia and teams in Ohio. You can go into those states and there's already familiarity just with the conference and the other schools in the league. So before, when you went to Ohio and they say, who do you play? And you say Fairmont and Glenville, they might not know, but when you go up there now and you say Notre Dame and Urbana, they get it. The same thing in Virginia, so that certainly helps us. I think our league has had a long history of successful recruiting in the DMV, which is like Maryland, DC, and Virginia, so that's easy for us. That's where I've coached high school football in Virginia for 6 years, so there was a natural transition there. So it's exciting to go out and represent this league and recruit to our school. I think we've got one of the best educations in the conference, and that's certainly one of our edges when we go out and talk.